Hello Plaza folks, welcome back. I'm epistemic-gnomes and I'm continuing here this section, right, that is taking many hours already to solve, but we're getting improvements. So I was attempting to fix the eyes rig, most importantly the eyelids with these eyelashes rigs. So they are combined, right? So we see that this is nearly happening, and I was struggling lately with the invisible surface which I have here, but I think I'm gonna remake this completely. I'll simplify this thing. I think I'll give up on this lattice modifier and lattice object because it adds more complications to the thing, and even though I have this lattice, it's not really helping the shape that I want. Yeah, so it's add more complication because this is just a surface. The only thing that I need is some curvature there, and actually I could make this surface into a simpler object, provided it can be targeted, then that could work. So here I made a mistake on the last video, and the last that I said that, well, the targeting the with the shrink wrap bone constraint, this eyelid control bone, if I target the eye itself, it won't bug the system, but actually it will. As for some mysterious reason, maybe I have to report that at some point. For some strange reason, when I have the other eye object targeted by, let's say, by this bone, let's say it has a, everything breaks apart. So let's pick here. I believe it has something to do with the mirror modifier, because this is a mirrored mesh. But as soon as I get this thing here, target, okay, it doesn't matter the other things, it's just as soon as I target it, everything breaks apart. You see, this bone cannot move anymore, and this stops working, and it's not enough to disable. I really need to delete, and then things start to work again. There's a way to know if this is something related to mirror modifier. Let's say if I target the same here. Of course, this is crazy, but if it breaks the system, no, it doesn't break. So I don't understand. So it's something about that other eye target, and so for this reason, but they are they are not mirrored. They are separate mesh objects. I don't see really a reason why this is happening. What if I target this one with the other? Does it cause? Yes, so it's something about targeting that one. So this is, maybe I'm getting close to some idea here. Maybe it's something about this, exactly this mesh object, but let's see the, oh, there's nothing. Well, they've got equivalent things, though symmetrical. UV warp modifier. Let's say, for example, if I delete the UV warp, of course this will destroy my 2D eyes rig, but then let's try to make this thing. Maybe it's a collision between, a conflict between the, okay, so here, okay, it works. So it's all right. So found out, it's or we found out, because This is something I've already realized before. It's a conflict between that modifier, UV warp modifier, with the one of the eyes, with the shrink wrap bone constraint. And also this could happen with shrink wrapping, other shrink wrapping stuff probably. But the mesh shrink wraps properly, so it's something about the UV warp that is conflicting with shrink wrap. Okay, so let me load this. And okay, so that means that if I want to have this thing, the whole rig working, I can't just target the eye. And actually this is not good for particularly this bone here, this control bone. It doesn't, sometimes it gets strong bizarre motion. So I think it's trying to follow the eye, and where it is, the eye here, and the eye has this shape, then it reaches the corner, the edge, then it starts to behave strangely. Then I have to reset its position. So this is annoying. So and the bone doesn't, the main bones, they don't need to be following exactly on the surface. It's not the case, because the mesh that it carries, the eyelids mesh, is already shrink wrapped to the eye. So the bone can be far apart, it can even be behind. Currently it cannot because of a shrink wrap, but it can even be behind. Not necessarily interpenetrations will occur, because of course sometimes it will occur, like there. So this means that I cannot shrink wrap with that target, because then if I, in these conditions, if I use this other target that I will have to use eventually, it will break apart all the rigs. So this is why I had to start with something like a ghost eye surface to prevent this bug or this destructive behavior. But I want to simplify this, because if now even this is not helping. For example, how this bone works. It looks like the shrink wrap bone constraint indeed has some caused some difficulties in controlling, imposing. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to delete this yet, because I think it already has got some. Yes, let's delete this at once, and then this at once. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to duplicate this object. Now it's I'll give it a C, ice surface ghost. Alright, so it doesn't need. Okay, so then it goes after. Now I'm going to, oh, actually, I remember something. I'll have to delete that. Let me add an object, a surface, right? Nerd surface. And yeah, the problem is now that, oh, hold on, I think I have a backup for that. All right. On the originals, ice, yeah, here it is. I have a backup here. So it's invisible. I need to check it out where it is. No, I don't want to look at the model sheets. Thank you. Not what I need. So where is that object? Oh, it needs to be. Right. So this is a backup object for the eye, and currently it even has got a mirror modifier. That's why it's. Yeah, that's why it's mirrored that way. And the advantage of doing that is that, yeah, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to duplicate this object. Where is he? Can't duplicate from here. Okay, let's duplicate from here. Then I'll take this out of here. I'll put it in this thing. I can lock these things and don't need to visualize this anymore. First thing, I want to see if I can use this as a target for the shrink wrap bone constraint? I think I can, but we'll have to investigate that. Currently these shapes, we don't want this kind of shapes, so we're gonna make some transformations here. Let's see. Yeah, it's not being symmetric. Well, actually it is. Yeah, it is being symmetric. I would like to merge in the middle, in the center. So this is something I don't remember how this can be achieved. Okay, if I did that, does it probably gets merged, but I'm not sure to which extent. Alright, that should work. Let's just look at it. Yeah, there's some bad things there. If it were just a different mesh, if it were converted to a mesh, it wouldn't have this problem. So I cannot merge these things apparently with... I could symmetrize and start to... Yeah, this is not a mesh exactly, so it's a NURB surface, so it's... I don't think I can... There's some way to... These are not exactly vertices that we can... They don't have the freedom of vertices, so maybe we can work with that. Yeah, that will be kind of bad for certain posings. Not that I would need to pose the eye, but I'd rather had those things merged. We'll see now if I... Okay, so I want to get these shapes more outer, and they can also be... This is sort of arbitrary, right? It's not like something we need to be absolutely precise. They're just for having adequate for posing. Alright, let's try to target this at once. So, what's happening here? Okay, it's a bit too far ahead, right? So, let's change this by just moving this to the front of the eye. That should work. Yeah. And then let's see now. I can hide it for a moment. So currently this bone, let's see, this bone constraint is shrink wrapped to the surface. Okay, the eye original, but I want to use this as a target. Let's target here. Actually, let's change this name, eye surface ghost, and that's it. And I cannot use this as a target. Okay, not that unfortunate, because at least I can convert this now. So without using this lattice strategy, I will just get this thing convert. I'll make proportional editing, whatever. It doesn't need to be equivalent to that in any sort in this case. So we'll start adjusting manually. So need to get this object here. Then I'm going to have convert to mesh. Now let's make this mirror modifier as a... Oh, it lost the mirror modifier. Okay. Then we gonna clip and merge, and let's already do that for the middle. What's happening to the mesh there? It got converted, right? But why it has some strange appearance in the middle? Looks like it got... Okay, let's do differently. Let me delete some. Maybe there are some. Oh yes, I see. This is an extra. It doesn't is not required mesh. Now yes, so we can do that and start to let's smooth that thing, and that will be yeah. Since this shape is invisible, it will be invisible. I could even maybe put it as a wireframe, right? Maybe that will be visibility. No, viewport display wire. That's nice. Okay, so we can use this. Now let me lock its location. Okay, where is it? World origin. Is it? Okay, this looks to be centralized. Now let's try to use this as a target. Now it should work. But I'll change this. It will be 02C. Ice surface is how I'm naming the stuff here at least. Then I paste this here and okay, but what happened to the why the bones are not. Oh, I think it got some. Okay, let's delete all those things first. The other shrink wraps. Maybe it's going crazy because there are. Oh, could it be that if a different object is set to shrink wrap, for the same armature bones it start to get crazy? That could be the case. Okay, you see now this bone starts happening, starts working. So, and these are locked. They are. Oh, actually this, yeah. This is interesting. I've just found another how to say evidence there that might be a bug. If there is different object target for shrink wrap bone constraint for the bones and the armor on the same armature object, like in this case, I was using this bone and these bones, and they were targeted different mesh object with shrink wrap bone constraints, respective ones starting then, and this is same thing is happening here because you see here there are different targets, but we'll move them all to the same target this time. Aha, so this was very valuable information. So let's reset this, and yeah, so here I also need to adjust some stuff here, so it doesn't need to go that far away. So let's also do this for, yeah, let's add some shrink wrap. Unfortunately for this case I can just symmetrize, right? I can symmetrize the bones. So let's fix one side first. Too many bones showing. Let's fix that by selection sets. Alright, then of course we need to solve this starting position. I think this is happening because this value is too unnecessary. Alright, I don't want this selection. Hold on. That, and that. Okay, let's see. Near surface. Okay, then 0 can be 0. Then also, you see it already starts to be closer to its rest position. Near surface point. Outside. No, it could be on surface or outside surface, above surface, whatever. This doesn't really help, so we must hope that now, yeah, so for some reason I have this problem here, but the other one seems to be working properly, right? So the good thing that there's not a gap here is that I can just in case for the curve of the bendy bone I can make more I have more space here to pose. Same for the top. Maybe this is enough, yeah. Same for the bottom. This should be enough, but we can augment all these things. And here, this, yeah. So here, the curvature of this object goes to. I don't know why it has this strange. It's the same bone constraint, but it got this copy transform. But no, it's not the copy transform that is making it go crazy. It must be some relation to the, yeah. So really can't understand this properly. What if I completely delete this? It still behaves strangely. Alright, so maybe I need some lesser distance. I cannot do that. Maybe this requires to, yeah. So let's change the curvature of this thing. Let's pick again the eye surface, and let's get proportional editing on. And yeah, we're gonna make major motion here, movements. Let's make some rotation here. This is, and that looks okay. So something, yeah, it's much better to work this way with the mesh, I believe, than, although there's more mistakes if we want yeah, it works well. Then here we should augment this. That could be fine. Maybe I can have this thing going, yeah, following this direction. And for the top, maybe it doesn't need to, yeah, the rotations here are complicated. I could just eliminate these curves here. This is perhaps not very relevant for what I'm doing here. Yes, we could definitively take off this face. Then I work with something more here. Let's do like that. I'm also tempted to simplify these faces. Here we go. And let's smooth everything. Scale, smooth. Okay, let's test now. Strangely, this bone goes, okay, now it doesn't seem to yeah, it's still bad for posing, but those ones don't suffer that much. Yeah, those ones seems to be working great. I believe it's because the curvature needs to match more the curvature of the eye. Not that it is not, maybe it's too far, so I'm gonna insist in this thing. Maybe eventually we'll get this to work. Now it seems though that the proportional editing is not good enough for the case. Let's see that. Let's select everything and let's smooth. Let's see now if we got any improvement. Okay, so you see there, as I go to rest pose, I mean, this bone gets a better, it doesn't get too much displaced. So about the posing, And also I found, I think that maybe I thought as I were going to sleep, I thought of some idea, had some insight of how I could make, as this bone moves down, perhaps this will rotate this way and this one rotate this way. I've got some idea, perhaps like some sort of like, oh, but their orientation is wrong, but it doesn't mean it won't be feasible. So it would be something like dump track, I don't know, yeah, so it would be like, now it will invert, now it uses negative axis to, yeah, that way, yeah, exactly. So that theoretical assumption works. So this will automate, but then I cannot make the rotation, it's rolling, but then I cannot manually make the rotations unless I get something like reduced influence. Yeah, because it can have something. Yeah, so okay, this can work. So this is an automation way we can do that. This is new, completely new to this rig, never thought about this. Just thought that this, because in principle we can adjust this manually, it's not too hard, but we can also have rest pose assets, right, for the eyes closed, all that. All those expressions can have pose assets. So 0.5, is 0.5 enough? Maybe I want 0.7. Alright, this looks good, and then we can still get this thing. Alright, and same here, let's make a dump track at 0.7, and then we use in this case the y, yeah, the y-axis, that's right. Alright, so this is great improvement. This helps us, instead of having to manually adjust, we got some automation. Maybe this could be slightly stronger. It's difficult to know exactly what should be the best automation, but yeah, trial and error. But yeah, this is already pretty cool, I think. So same here, let's use, because these bones are in this direction, these bony bone splines, I need to, in this bone, it needs to use its negative y-axis to track this thing. So let's use here dump track, and this is negative y, otherwise it fully rotates around itself. And dump track, this one is y, is fine, except that for these values here, this should be this, and this should be probably they shouldn't be the same, just because it's top and bottom. This is not exactly a symmetry thing, but let's see. Yeah, I'm seeing some interpenetrations there. We can avoid this if I work on this thing. So now I have yeah, augmenting the distance. I could change the object itself, right? But it's easier to see results here. It's okay if those things are different for each bone, but ideally you would want to have the other object solve everything instantaneously, except that we do not know in advance whatever it will require. So now this is looking good. The only thing that is not, well, there are many things that are not great, but one thing that is not good, well, I'm not liking how this is pushing the eye here in terms of characters. I'm not wrong, it's not wrong, it's just not totally what I'm used for. It's like closed eyes already adding an expression of fatigue or something like that. But it's not necessarily wrong, it can be cool. I leave it like that for now, but probably this would be just a question of better wave painting here. let's say if I have these, yeah, maybe there's too much waves there. We can, but I cannot do this without some protection. So let's use just quickly fix this. Eyes region, eyelids mesh, yes, eyelids mesh, select. Okay, it's already selected. Then as I go here on, we see, okay, I need to have this, then protection. Here, let's put the screencast on. There you see, and let's reduce these influences here on the corners. That should be okay. Let's blur a little, and also you see that the tip of the eyelashes, they don't get any influence. This is right for this rig. And then let me use the other bendy bone. There are only two deformed bones for the top eyelid as for the bottom eyelid, so 2 bendy bones is enough to make this elegant curve. And here same thing, let's reduce some of the influence here on these corners. And yeah, maybe here is a bit too delicate in this pose, so let's just try to change this pose if the bone helps. All right, now I pick again this, and this is not necessary in that part. It was more here that I was seeing issues, and so here I can blur this again without. Okay, let's see if now we got some improvement. Yes, you see, much better now. This shape was, now it nearly looks like plain eye. Still the character design wouldn't have this, but because it's 3D and it's still, I'm still trying to make this adaptation. This is working. This is okay. I leave it like that. And so let's see for the, yeah, so this bone is still suffering, not this one, this one is still suffering of poses, but it's much better now. It doesn't, it had some resistance or strange posing patterns sometimes, but provide this doesn't occur in animation, like if it goes here to here, provides just a posing thing, then it should be fine. I could make a test right now. Okay, let's make a simple test right now. So if I have this pose here, and then I want this bone to move here, so you see all the resistance I'm fighting as I want to pose here, and then oh, it affects the animation. This is bad. This is pretty bad. It's okay, so this is really important test, folks. I don't know why this is happening. If you get any idea, please leave a comment. I don't know. This is pretty bizarre. This of course is happening because of the shrink wrap bone constraint, and no, it is not directly related to those other bone constraints, so I've deleted them, and you see it's still happening. So this is kind of sad that I cannot. I've seen sometimes that if I reset, no, if I reset the pose, sometimes it gets better, but then eventually it breaks apart again. So it's something about the shrink wrap bone constraint itself. I tried to change all those things, nothing happened. What if I reduce the influence? By reduce the influence, I still get some weird motion and some resistance, but it seems to be slightly smoother on, no, and I don't have snapping. and I'm so it's like it's disputing positions with something else, but it's not a deformed bone, so it's not. Now it looks to be slightly smoother, but no, nothing to do with deformed bone. But it is a bone that is parented. Okay, it has the parent to the head bone. Okay, you see, it's a target of stretch to bone constraint, because it's yeah, so it's a bendy bone spline, this thing. I'm trying to find out what is causing this exactly, because it's not simply the shrink wrap bone constraint. Oh, it's just the shrink wrap bone constraint. No, because you see, this one doesn't suffer mostly the same pattern. It's only this bone that suffer. Oh, well, this one too. Curiously, it's, yeah, this one too suffers. They are at the end of the, let's say, the chain of the bendy bone splines. What could it be that is the stretch to bone constraint? No, it's not the stretch to bone constraint. What if I delete the stretch to bone constraint? No, also not. So what if I change the parent, clear parent? No, it's still having some strange posing. So, look that the parents, there are different parenting methods there. This is probably, okay, but this shouldn't, what is that? Oh, okay, this is different, because of different setup right now. Nothing wrong about this. So, no, this shouldn't be about the different parents, but I could make a quick test. This will explode the rig or whatever, but let's get the deformation body. Where's the head bone? There. Yeah, difficult. Yeah, no, bad idea, bad idea. But it's probably not that anyways. Too hard to make these things. I need to investigate those different targets here. Usually either it will be the deaf head bone as a target for the parenting of set, or for example, this one, if I check the relation, is the deaf head deform head bone, and this one, let's pick another one. These are for going for the, wait, okay, no, visual mistake. I want something deaf head, control head. Okay, so these ones are control head, so I can change. So these ones, maybe I just forgot to change their, so deaf head, there you go, for all. So maybe it's just, it was I don't, but this won't solve the problem, shouldn't be the cause. Maybe it's a visual thing, it depends on the, no, you see, the shape of this thing is not too different from this region and from this region, so it's not the shapes are not really matching. Maybe it's because the mesh here is maybe there's some interference with the mesh. Yeah, so because this affects animation, and here too. Okay, there's another test I would need to try. Let's consider these bones as let's get them read out of some features here. So for example, this bone is targeting that handle here. Let's delete that and let's see. No, still having, okay, then we delete the stretch too. Now this bone has no relation whatsoever to the bendy bone spline, but it's still, and it's a non-deformed bone, but it's still having this strange behavior. Alright, so it's not the bendy bone stuff. Maybe it's some relation to this other bone. No, but then I can still delete that. Still no. So this is getting more and more interesting. And parent, no. Alright, so what can that be? Something special about this bone that I cannot find out. Or maybe it's about this mesh. Something about the origin of this mesh, or... Okay, we know it's not about these bone constraints. Well, of course, it's the shrink wrap. Okay, now it's free. Now I've re-enabled the shrink wrap. Eventually it has some warping events. Slightly better, but it's still strange if we compare with this one. Is bad too. This one is smoother. It doesn't matter if I move this bone there. However, if I move this bone there, yeah, it's still smooth. So alright, so the settings are exactly the same, or now they have slight changes. Cannot find the culprit of that. What if I, let's make some crazy thing here. If I put this bone here, it's still smooth, even though it started closer to that. So it's not the start position. Let me load, because we've destroyed enough of the file here. And so very odd, very odd, folks. What is there any other thing for a bone that I don't see any other thing that can affect a bone here? Different. It's really odd. So yes, I have some idea to, so instead perhaps of using a shrink wrap bone constraint here, so it gets free to move, so it don't bug out that way. There's also another method that I was using previously, but it also caused issues, limit distance. So I will target the same eye surface mesh object. So let's target here, and then vertex group. No, there's no vertex group. Distance, that will want 0 inside. No, let's be outside, so it's freer. World space, yes, I guess world space. So so now we cannot, yeah, it's not respecting this limit distance currently. Sounds to be a bit, maybe it requires a vertex group after all, not sure. On surface, this is more radical. Yeah, it's this distance is strange because it shouldn't be. Wow, what's that? What's happened to the bendy bone? Oh, the origin of the object. All right. Could it be that all this is related to the origin of the object? This is bizarre. In this case, yes, because there's no vertex group maybe. So let's make this a vertex group at once. So add so that's eye surface ghost. Yes, just something like that. Assign. Let's go here and what is the bone? Yeah. Here let's add its vertex group. Now it seems to be adequate or not. 0. On surface. Okay, so now the motion is smooth, but there is some resistance to certain motion, and so that is on surface. Outside maybe it's a bit better. Yeah, so all those things are pretty annoying. They never work as expected. Maybe they need a revision in Blender. It just makes really no sense to me why they fail so badly sometimes. Here it's going inside, so yeah, no way I want to use that also. So the unique form that I found here is just avoid shrink wrap for this and for this. So just using these features for, so here we need to rely on more manual posing, which is okay. It's just that we must be more careful about interpenetration, while these ones are safer too, because they are using the shrink wrap thing. And so I just need to make sure here if it gets some resistance. Yes, this is moving in some strange ways sometimes. If this is actually affecting animation, my experience shows that this kind of resistance can actually affect animation. Okay, I need to, it should move straight. Okay, it's moving straight. Not totally convinced. Let's try something else. Still moving. Okay, so okay, that convinced me enough. 2 tests here. So okay, although there are some strange response here, responsiveness is a bit weird. Just as this one too, in terms of, oh, this is a good one to animate and test. So although the responsiveness is a bit weird on posing, for animation that works. So it's not warping or anything like that, so we can safely develop animation. So that's fine. Okay, tests done. And strangely enough, it was only with those bones that started suffering this terrible madness with the shrink wrap bone constraint. And so what I need to do here, I need to symmetrize these bones, right? And okay, let's go on. So I can move ahead with this solution finally. Let's see here. Where is what are you doing here? Select. Oh yeah, the selection set. Okay, so it's just these bones that I want. Then I pick all that and symmetrize, and now some things are very wrong there. Need to check, maybe it's the dumped track here, or okay, I know what's that. Probably is the they are all turned over because of the probably it's this thing. It needs to go on the inverse. Yeah, this is not the case. Yeah, they need to get the shrink wrapping thing needs to use the, because I'm aligned to normal, and the bones, they have this asymmetry, right? Their bone gizmos, their axis gizmos, they do not symmetrize, right, from side to side, so we need to adapt. So Blender thing, and therefore we cannot, if you use this option, we cannot use the same because here normally the x-axis of the bone will be inverted, will be backward, so like in this case it is forward, right? So unfortunately we need, this is not automated in the symmetrization, so we need to do it manually. And these ones, they don't use they cannot use the shrink wrap. And now the shrink wrapping the same target, right, the ghost surface, it's not causing disruption to the eyes rig, so that's good. Now there are some things, smaller expression issues that I could solve here, but the dumped track is doing its job, so it's nearly fine for many expressions here. Oh, I remember something that was very required to fix. It's as we close the eye, of course I have a pose asset, there's some interpenetration here, so maybe what I can do here is using the mesh, this mesh of the bottom eyelash, without proportional editing, we should be able to move it downwards, maybe it's just like that, and here, yes, more downward, so we'll avoid all these kinds of interpenetrations, maybe not all, but many. So let's see, let's smooth this out. Let's see now. Yes, we don't want to be able to see the eye here also, so there should be a way to pose this properly. This is why the rest position, this is new to me in some sense, because when the eye's rest position is closed, we don't have to fix this, right? The rest position automatically fixes. Ideally, what I would like to have is multiple rest positions for the mesh. That will be ideal thing in rigging, organic rigging in Blender. We can assume that shape keys, this is theoretical, what I'm going to talk about here. We can assume in a certain perspective that shape key, this is something else. I believe it has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Add a rest position attribute. I don't know what is a rest position attribute. That's a copy of the rest of the position attribute before shape keys and modifiers are evaluated. So this is intriguing, but so far I've researched a little about that. It's nothing to do with what I mean, but I really wanted something that additional rest positions for the mesh, like attributes, whatever, but not, perhaps not in the sense they talk it, but it's really a rest position attribute, and that means that we could achieve deformation patterns for the body, right, from different instances of rest position. This will require probably the merging of wave painting events on skinning algorithm as they approach, like so for example, this character, if we look at the mesh, has a rest position for the legs like that. What if I could have two rest positions, right? So if the leg, this is the rest pose, and this is the rest position. So if the character could have two different rest positions simultaneously, then you could calculate the algorithm of the forms with the rotations, for example, of the mesh to the bones, of course, commanding the mesh, the deformed bones. Then we'll have obtained good mesh deforms from this rest position and from this mesh position. So currently, because there's only one rest position possible, we can only deform from one reference, spatial reference for the mesh. So as it rotates further away, whatever mesh here rotates further away from its original position, start to have huge, terrible deforms, artifacts, right? But if we have simultaneously, if it is ever possible, I believe it's possible, another reference for rest position, then we could have that the worst worst pose for the mesh were something in between the two references. And in certain sense, shape keys, they attend this thing, but they do not actually create a new rest positions. But we could assume that for certain cases it would be a bit like having multiple rest positions. Not for the algorithm, but for, well, the different poses, right, that we want perfection on the shapes, the morphs, right? Alright, so let's see now what I can go next here. I think I finally concluded this, at least the other details I'll do manually myself, with not with live. But I fixed these overall things here for the eyes finally. The eyes rig, the eyelashes, the eyelids rig. So what I want to see now, I've had made a new eye surface ghost object here, which I can reshape anytime. It shouldn't be dramatical to what I'm working on, right? Provide it gets, I can smooth everything, and yeah, can make more radical things here. Yeah, there's something else I need to assess here. Okay, it is for, let's see, the layers, bone layers. For the face rig, I have other features for the face rig, which are, okay, so these are eyelash bones, these are the other deformed bones. Okay, so yes, those bones here, they also have, probably some of them, I have some sort of shrink wrap bone constraint. No, they don't. Okay, so this means that I could use, yes, that same surface to have them okay, I need to assess how this thing is working. Apparently it's not working very well right now. It's supposed to be some main controller bone for eyes expression, but what we see now is that this bone, for some reason, oh, I see, this is pushing that bone, but this doesn't automatically makes the, yeah, this is interesting, very interesting thing. As I push this bone down, you see that its eyelash deformed bone do not respond to this transform of this bone. So this bone is not suffering local transforms here, and because it is not suffering local transforms, it does not affect that bone transformation. Bone constraint is not being affected. It needs to be posed manually, so this is critical. I don't remember to have seen that yet. So is there a way to fake this, or to make that this bone will transform this and then it will automatically do these things that I want here? Well, I see one way, but no, it's not appropriate, because yeah, okay, I thought that what if this bone also responds to this, but then the way it responds to transformation bone constraint is very specific, so it's not. So as I push here, it even strangely it goes to another direction. Yeah, but it's certainly not what I need here. So this is very unfortunate, because this idea of have a single bone that would so I would be able to pose this like without having to select multiple bones, right? So I have like, I pick these. I wouldn't have to pick like these and these to. Now apparently I need to wait. If I pick those two, even then there's something. Looks that something is counter. This bone has strange things. Copy location. No, this is correct. All right. Okay, so you see that the copy location is fine, but not the. All right, so maybe I'll have to find a new mechanism for this thing. But here is fine. That it's the what would have a double selection, right? That this is a correct one, but not this one. So, oh, I know what's going on. Okay, it's because the bone constraints here, these have a very special system here to answer to this. All right, so that this is that thing, and it is parented, yes. Yeah, but you see it doesn't respond. So I think this is a dead end, folks, for this system. I cannot use a main bone here that would activate this setting here, the transformation bone constraint, unless there is something I'm missing. I'll investigate quick, but I don't think I can find something. Owner local space target. Oh, target workspace. Could that be possible? Okay, let's reactivate this. No, nothing to be done here. Workspace, never mind. Local space owner orientation. What about this? No. All right. So yeah, owner, sure, it should be local space, but the target. Yeah, it targets this bone, the ID bone, but then it needs, but because this bone moves that bone, but then that bone moves on world space, but not on local space, then this local is useless. And so local with parent. Aha. All right, we got it. Does this ring? No. All right, great, folks. This is a fine discovery. So to the folks that never knew, always confused. Well, this is always a bit confused, but what's happening here is that coincidentally, this bone, differently from the others. Oh, I have a problem. I have to resolve this thing. All right, so the problem, this bone particularly, because it needs to follow this, is parented to that bone. And this means that if I have this bone constraint targeting, yeah, the transformation bone constraints target with the spaces of this bone. Hold on. Target local with parent. The parent of whom? I assume the parent of this one, which is this one. So yeah, now I'm even more confused than I start. But the fact is that now it works. And so I can do this, and now I need to replicate this for the bottom part too. So let's see, target local with parent. Here we go. Now it's doing it, but there is trouble because these other bones, they don't benefit from that kind of parenting. So I assume that, yeah, you see that strangely they are responding. These ones, maybe it's just because this one is parented. Yeah, maybe it's in these ones are not. So let's see if anything changes if I get this thing local with parent. No. Local with parent. And what about this one? Nothing special happens, so this is not required, because actually these bones, they are parented to the head bone, and so it's only this one because it has a special parenting. It's parenting to, instead of the head bone, it's parented exactly to that. And there's a copy location that, so it's the parenting. Okay, so it's exactly the, while this one is parented thing as well. So local space is parent. Indeed, this is the parent, I believe, of the parent of the target bone. Local with parent. Space that target is evaluated. Space. that target. I don't understand this sentence. Space that target, space of that target, I guess. Space that owner. No, it's not an error. They meant like that apparently. Space that target is evaluated in local with parent. The transformation of the target once evaluated relative to its rest pose local coordinate system does include the parent induced transformation. Alright, so because this bone moves, it will okay, that's what I can guess from it. The important thing is that this kind of solved that little thing. So now we have double deforms. I mean, we have, if we use these main bones, I can have this. Yeah, this thing also rotates. So, and it also makes motion to the eyelashes, and same here. If we ever wanted to have the whole expression, right? Of course, there's some things. Of course, this is going inside. These bones are not constraint. These ones actually, I mean, they are not shrink wrapped to anything. They could be. So for posing patterns, we don't usually need to pose them manually. I decided that I would just want these things for the expressions. I will just construct them. Yes, we can construct complete facial expressions with then we save pose assets, then we but in principle you can just be okay with that. For faster thing, of course, maybe we'd probably want to make some more tweaking usually, right? Yeah, it's funny to time consuming, but it's sometimes just adequate. But at least with this we can move everything at once, right? So what this could be relevant right now, and this might be a good reason why I would like to expand this thing. So let's use proportional editing. Yes. Scale on Z. No, I'm having some trouble here. Let's maybe too big of influence here. I just want to push these things down, something like that, I guess. Yeah, this sounds nice. All right, and why not also let's push this up. Let's do some motion here. That's fine. Now let's attempt this thing here. Let's reset. Okay, this is the rest pose already, but should it be like that? Maybe we can give this some more I don't know. Yeah, so I need to I was moving it in the wrong direction. Okay, so alright, so we don't want them to be on the front like that. They are bad for, they are control bones, so they can be anywhere actually. So after I'll care about alignment later. Alright, so what's happening here? Of course I cannot push it the other side. Of course, as soon as I get them to if I get them to shrink wrap, that could be problematic, right? Unless, of course, so let's do for it. Oh, they currently have a limit distance, right? But now I can shrink wrap, so let's delete these things. Oh, this was using the limit distance. So what I'm gonna do is I pick this. Let's use this and hope there is Yeah, actually I wanted to maintain the on surface, no, outside surface. Oh, here you go. So let's but why this thing is okay, outside surface, then it can go inwards, right? No, it can go inwards, but then okay, so I found what I wanted. So outside surface, yes, but then I don't want it to be able to move to the back, like so. For example, here maybe yes, it's something about moving this way. So maybe the mesh here is a bit wrong. So this is something I'll, or maybe it's about this bone that, or this bone. Not sure. This is pushing everything. Yeah, we cannot push this. Yeah, so I need to reassess that mesh at some point. What's happening here is that I want more distance, perhaps. Here's starting to, between 0.4 and 0.5, this starts to make changes. Okay, so now this cannot go. Okay, so now you see it's a little harder to get interpenetrations, apparently. Yeah. But this already means rest pose transforms, right? Because this is already pushing this bone apart already from rest pose, not now. Okay, so 0.5 is fine. Yes, there's the interpenetration I can avoid, but then at least I cannot push it as I pose backward. So this is good, I think. Yeah, it should remain safe for most. This is not the kind of bone we're gonna like pose like anyways. It's just for moving up and down, right? So this is sounds reliable. Same here. Let's just use a copy stuff here. Now let's see if I augment. Okay, augmenting here's already bad. So for this one, all right. So we get lots of expressions already. No, not lots of. Sorry, I mean we got a simple way to pose those things. Yeah, and it's kind of funny and kind of organic. These bones are horrible, right? We need some adequate how to say custom shapes for them, right? Let's see. I don't think I have anything good for them right now. I have circles for the spine, I think. I have to find out what I'd like for these ones. I don't see the spine right now. How do you say custom spine. Yeah, so something like that is the best thing I have right now, I think. So let's do this and do this. Then let's reset those values. And we don't want this scaling thing. Maybe for this case we, yes, negative 90 or 90, doesn't matter. Where are them? Oh, they are gigantic. So maybe we want this for this case. And no, let's leave it like that, and then let's just make transforms manually. So Y, something like that, and X, and yeah, let's reduce their I'll be very 0.15, 0.05, whatever. I think it was that. Alright, so really not satisfying, but at least, and we can then from this maybe do that. No, bad idea. Maybe we can, yeah, really hard to manipulate these bones through this. Alright, better than what it was before, at least that, right? Alright, and let's now symmetrize. And then we have where they are. No, it's just an impression that they are displaced. Alright, so right now we don't see these bones. Let's see. Oh, now it's, of course, it's not responding because I need to symmetrize the other ones as well. So let's do all again for just in case. So now this bone, the eyelash bone, is responding. What is this one though? Oh, it was just another. Okay. Some strange mesh there is deforming weirdly. This is not happening for this side. This bone is going crazy. Maybe it has got some. Maybe it's the dumped track. Maybe I added wrongly dumped track to shrink wrap here. Let's see. Copy location. Copy location. No. What's happening to that bone actually? Okay, so this bone, no, the dumped. Oh, these bones are crazy also. So let's see. Could it be? Maybe I should put the shrink wrap first. I'm not sure about this. Yeah, it feels more organized, so dump a track would be the last thing, I guess. Okay, so this is working. Let's just readjust that, shrink wrap. This don't get shrink wrap. This does. Oh, this makes some change, but it doesn't seem to be critical. Yeah, maybe this should be reassessed, but currently. Okay, then we symmetrize that again, and yeah, then copy transforms, dump track. Oh, it's the, I see. Yeah, again, it's this thing. Careful about those things. This is pretty annoying, so let's do it all at once. Yeah, just this one, so we need to be always careful about that. There we go. And this don't have shrink wrap bone constraints, so it's fine. Now it doesn't cause this thing, and now everything is working as expected finally. Alright folks, so as I said previously, next thing I think I'm gonna reassess the arm, so let's move forward. Finally, this head thing is solved. Apparently I don't, only details I'll manage to do there personally. What is this? Why this is not locked? Well, don't know, but let's lock everything now, and let's make sure that the yes, it seems to be okay. So let's we don't need this, we hide. And yes, there's still this idea of actually I forgot the last thing I want to do here is see if I can, oh I did it, shrink wrap there and there. Okay, so I did that, but what about these ones, right? These ones we can move manually. We could still have them shrink wrapped. This is more delicate because these are deformed bones, and as soon as their rest position is already set, but as soon as if I shrink wrap them to the goal surface, yeah, they are, it's like they are randomly crossing it. As soon as if I created shrink wrap bone constraints for them, they'll immediately change the shape of the face, because their rest pose will be transformed. You see here, it's very slightly, so this is not, maybe this is not critical. On surface though, no, we would probably like to have it outside, and of course if we start to mess with the distance, then the good thing here that we cannot push it in. Well, we can, but there's some, yeah, there's space for more conflict here, so maybe it's better to leave them free, because this was not meant for these mesh, so this would be a more complicated issue. And yeah, currently I think they are fine just like that, right? So you could pose like that, you could make several different expressions, kind of cool, right? With just bone manipulation here, very organic. I like this. I think sometimes, yes, we need to, there are some details there of the character design I need to assess, but is certainly far from perfect. But I like the idea that we can have so many control on the shapes, and it's like gradual, right? It's not something that we can mix stuff. So perhaps the only good part of this, or the best part if we compare it with shape keys method for facial rig, but it's very difficult. Not that shape keys for facial expression is not difficult, it has its own challenge, and I don't have enough experience with that. I'm glad that I succeeded in this solution. It just needs yeah, a lot of tweaking, so this is a long time work if we want perfect expressions. But I mean, for this character, actually for what I wanted, I have relatively good expressions possibilities from this. We don't need to be absolutely perfect. I think the character is having enough good stuff, and of course there's we have also, we can make expressions with the eyes too, so this is part of everything. Then yeah, and this is very important for cartooning, right? Stretch and squash on the face, and sometimes very tiny stuff there. I know my controllers are a mess here in terms of clarity. I probably can solve that, and for animation probably we can hide those relationship lines, right? Yeah, a lot of things we can improve there, and then of course we don't need to look at that. All right, so folks, this is for the face expression. I think I can already make some sort of, wait, there's some slight interpretation there on response. Let's fix it very quick here. I think this can be adjusted if I just move this, no, without proportional editing. Here we go, nearly solved. Let's move this forward a bit. There we go. So all right, yeah, now I want this to go back. Yeah, that's why there was interpenetration, right? I can't. Yeah, this is not there's minute details for character design, but there's it, folks. So I believe this for the eyes rig is completed. The adjustments, retakes I was doing. Now it's just about minute retakes that I won't show here because it will be too. I'll need to focus a lot, right? It will be, and then I show what I come up to. But the next lives I'll be doing. I've solved these arm. I'll resolve the eyes, the arms, because what I found out, this is important, the problem that I had with the arms on that rest position is because I have bendy bones. This pose actually required a lot of twisting and detwisting of the orientations, and this was a complete mess up for the original arms that I had, the bone structures especially, not so much the mesh, but the mesh in relation to the bones and the bones twisting and all that. So the bones axis got all messed up in a difficult way, so that my conclusion to that is that instead of having the arms that way, they would be better if they were if the rest position was something more how do you say, more simple, like the orientation of the limb was all straight, so something like the top of the arm, the character she would raise the arm like that, right? There could be some bending, yes, or not, that doesn't really matter, but it could be important to have some bending, yes. But then the arm up is very important, but not the arm, the forearm and the hand shouldn't be twisting inwards. They should be just as the character was, arm straight like that on a T-pose, and then like that, and except that I want the rest position, the fingers closed, clenched fist, I mean, and then it would be just like yeah, you got the idea, just like that. And then the top of the arm and the upper arm and the forearm, everything would be aligned, and this will help me a lot in solving the gizmos and the twistings and everything for both armature and mesh. And so this would be just a change from the T-pose or the A-pose. This is just a slight variation of the T-pose, where the arm starts bent upwards, and that is more important to solve this this portion of the rig. And so this is what I'm gonna do next. And unfortunately I've messed up this everything there, so I'll make some studies before starting the live, and then I'll be ready to start that. So that's it for now, folks. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something from this, or if you're and happy blending. See you again next time. Take care.